Yo, what's up everyone? Voss Get Up, this is Valoramous. In today's DJ tutorial, I want to discuss how to use the Rekordbox DJ sampler and or the DDJ 1000 sampler. And so in a previous video, I discussed the 4 BPMs that are most common to open format DJs, and those are 75 BPM, 90, 95, 100 BPM, 128, and then 150. Now the 90, 95, 100 is a pop, hip hop, or Latin tempo. The average BPM of that range is obviously 95, but what you could do is have a sample at 90 and then have a sample at 100 to cover this gap and cover this distance. So what I've devised is I would recommend that you have 4 drum samples within your DDJ 1000 or Rekordbox DJ sampler at 75, 90, 100, and then 128, because the 75 BPM can cover down for the 150. And the reason why you should lean more towards 75 and not 150 is because oftentimes the fast-paced trap, drum and bass, hard dance, or hardstyle tracks will have a full set of drums at 150 BPM. So what you need is drum samples at 75 to cover the verses that may not have drums during, say, for example, the first verse. So that 75 BPM drum loop can cover down on both the 75 BPM hip-hop tracks and then also the 75 or 150 BPM hard dance tracks. So we're going to go into the Rekordbox DJ sampler, and I'm going to show you my method for programming samples on the 8 pads or 16 pads in your DDJ 1000 sampler, and then how you can go about applying these samples during your gigs. Okay, what's up everyone? This is Valoramous, and welcome to my tutorial on how to use the DDJ 1000 and or Rekordbox DJ software sampler. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you my method for using the sampler, and in order to display the sampler, you're going to go up here to the top left-hand side of your Rekordbox DJ software screen and check this sampler box. That will show these samples right here. So currently, right now, I have 4 samples loaded on the top half of deck 1 or 3, and then the top half of deck 2 or 4. So I can play these samples. These are the classics, DJ horns and sirens. And then I also have this noise sampler. And then the 4th sample slot is my DJ drops.
Tearing up the decks. It's my favorite American boy, DJ Valoramous.
Okay, so those are the 4 samples you have right here. So let's describe the essence of the problem when you're mixing live. When you're mixing live as a DJ, there are oftentimes tracks that do not have extra drums or extra noises during usually the first verse section. And it is during this transition from one track to the next track where you may need to either add additional DJ effects and or drum samples. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you this 2 tracks of mine. One is at 130 and the other one's at 150. I'm going to bring this down to 128. That is more the likely tempo for EDM songs. So I'm going to loop a 16 bar loop right here. I'm going to play this, and you're going to see that there's no drums being played. So we're going to play this. Okay, so as you can see, there's no drums being played. Now, how do we solve this problem? So the way to solve this problem is to actually bring in a sample, a drum sample that could play on top of this. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you how to actually program samples within your Rekordbox DJ software. So I have these samples right here that I downloaded from splice.com. Trap drums at 75 or 150 BPM, pop drums at 90, hip hop drums at 100, and then EDM drums at 128. We're going to drag and drop these into the sampler and physically see these samples themselves. And I recommend that you keep both sides of your deck the same. So you're going to have these drum samplers programmed the exact same way, that way it is a mirror image of each other. So now what we can do is we can actually modify these drums by going to this edit button. bring up the gain if you want. You can turn on this loop button, which you want to do. You're going to do this to all of these samples right here. Just bring these up all the way up. Edit. Gain all the way up. Edit. Edit. Gain to the max and repeat. 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 Gain. Okay, so now all the samples have been programmed. So now we can play this loop right here, and then we can play a drum sample on top of this loop. So let's do this. And now you have to be in time, so you must press play on the exact drum sample that you want to use at that exact moment in time. So on the one beat, you're going to press play. See that? Drums. Everything's in time. Bam, 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 bam. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that is a track at 128. Now let's say we have the same problem with the track at 150. We're going to do another loop. This is at 150 or 75 BPM the verse. Let's play this. Now there are drums here, but it's very, very quiet. What you could do is then take this 75 BPM drum loop and then play this. See, everything's in time now. And see, that's another example right there. So if you have a track that is maybe weak on drums or needs more drums, you can use these drum samples in the drum sampler to add additional effects. Now, same thing when you have a transition with the verse, or a transition from a drop. So at the end of these EDM tracks, oftentimes there is a release in energy. That is when you can either get on the mic or use these additional samplers, such as the horn, the siren, and noise to add additional noises, so it's not a complete letdown and a complete release of energy for the audience. So we're going to play the last little bit of this drop right here, and you're going to see what I mean. And then we're going to play some horns. Bam! And then the next verse starts. So there you have it. That is my DJ tutorial on how to use the Rekordbox DJ software sampler and or the DDJ 1000 sampler. This is only an example. You can definitely be creative with which samples you want to use, but you want to use the samples that are most pertinent to you as a DJ. So if you were an EDM DJ, for example, and you always maintain a tempo around 124 to 132 BPM, most of your samples should be in that tempo range. Now myself as an open format DJ, I play a wide variety of tempos and BPMs and genres. You can see that I have drum samples that match those tempos, 75, 90, 100, 128, etc. And then I also still use the horns, the sirens, the noise effects, and also DJ drop samples to enhance my DJ sets. Use the sampler as a tool. A lot of DJs do not use the sampler, but this is very powerful, especially when you have either tracks that were recorded long ago that did not have as effective of mixing and mastering equipment. You can add these drums to enhance those older tracks, or simply use these samples to add more drums, add more energy to your sets during moments of energy where the energy is either dissipated or been released. If you have any additional tips, questions, or comments, please leave those in the comment section below this video, and I'll see you in the next video.
3, 2, 1, lose it.